Thornbird Bear Yarns podcast. It is Tuesday, March 28th, 2017. Thank you to everybody who is coming back to watch another episode. And if you are brand new, welcome to the podcast. It's kind of a rainy, gray day here in southern Indiana. But hopefully it'll be better weather ahead. And spring's coming, and I'm excited about that. So good things are coming ahead. You can find me on Ravelry as Lots of Yarn. That's LOTSUVYARN. Facebook, we have a Facebook group, or page, I should say, for Thornbird Bear Yarns. Instagram, it's Thornbird Bear Yarns, and on Ravelry, we have a group, Thornbird Bear Yarns. And I think that's it. I was going to mention something. I guess I should talk about my week so far. It's been a couple weeks since I last saw you. And this week, it started this weekend, my boyfriend and I have been, I cleaned out my kids' rooms completely and utterly, cleaned them out, decluttered them, everything is gone. And I got rid of their beds that were in their rooms. I've been promising them for a while now that I would get them bunk beds. And then my boyfriend Jacob said, he's a carpenter, that's his skill that he learned. And so he said, I can, build them bunk beds. So we've been looking around at bunk beds online, different plans, and we found a really cool one that has steps with a landing and then a bed. And it's actually a lofted bed. So we did the loft part, and then for the boys' beds, we added a bottom bunk. And the reason we really liked this design is because my middle son has autism, and it's difficult for him. He's because of his autism, things seem to scare him a little bit sometimes or hold him back. And one of those things is climbing a ladder. It's just not his thing. So I told him that we would, I showed him the bed, and it has these stairs that you walk onto a platform, and then from the platform you just climb a couple ladder steps into the bed. And so I told him about it, and I showed it to him. He said, yeah, he thinks he can do that. So that's the design we went with. And so I cleaned out their rooms Friday and Sunday, and we started building the beds on Sunday. And the first time I saw them in my boyfriend's workshop, I was blown away. They're absolutely beautiful. I'll insert some pictures, but we're just right now in the process of building them, so they're not even remotely done. So right here I will insert some pictures to show you where we're at right now. And so anyways, we've been working on that pretty much every day, every night. We're to the point we're almost done assembling the beds, and then we are going to sand them and stain them and let them dry. And I got new mattresses coming, new bedding the kids picked out. So that has been taking over my life and really exciting. I haven't knit much because of it. Well, that's not true. I've knit a ton. But in the last few days, I have not knit much. So, let's start with finished objects. I have some finished objects. I guess I'm going to go through what the layout of the podcast this episode will be. I will start with finished objects, and then we will go to works in progress, and then future works in progress, and then we'll talk about spinning, and there's a yarn giveaway, and a shop update. And also, if you're ever looking for show notes, I'm not probably going to be actually typing up show notes because I keep everything on my Ravelry project page up to date. So if there's anything you're looking for, any yarns I've used, any patterns you want to find, go to my project page under lots of yarn on Ravelry, or my projects list, and you'll see all the projects I do, and they're linked to the patterns if I have a pattern, and to the yarns if I have a yarn. Okay, so the first finished object I have are my Flora socks, and these are made out of my yarn, Thornbird Bear Yarn, which you can find my Etsy shop at Thornbird Bear Yarns. And this is the Flora colorway. And I also did, I dyed this, but I don't sell minis or anything right now in my shop. And I did a little heel here. So let me tell you about the sock. Let's get back here a little bit so it doesn't blow my face out. I did 20 rounds of ribbing, 2x2 ribbing, and then I did 70 rounds for the leg. I did the Fish Lips Kiss heel, but I did it in garter stitch, which I really like how that turned out. It kind of just sets it apart from the sock. And then I did, for my foot size, I think I do 65 rounds on the foot. I should go here. And then I do a 5-point decrease on my toe. I don't do a toe where you decrease on 4 sides, or, you know, 4 different, the 2 ends of the toe. I divide the stitches by 5 and decrease that way. So it makes like a little star at the end. So I love these. I love how they turned out. I'm really excited to wear them. I've been wanting to wear them, and then I've been having to keep them nice and clean for the podcast. So I'm excited to get to wear these. That's actually the yarn that we're going to be giving away this week is a skein of, it's blowing it out, Thornbird Bear yarns in the Flora colorway. So that's the same colorway that I have made my socks with. And it came out kind of self-striping, but it's not a self-striping yarn. It's dyed as a variegated speckled yarn. And it came out this way. The pulling spiraled. So that is my first finished object. Oh, and I used size 1 needles. I used Chow Goo, 40-inch cables, 2.25 millimeter, and I did these 2 at a time, which I'm finding I just love. I can get a pair of socks done in usually about 6 to 9 days that way, whereas when I do them 1 at a time, it takes me about 2 to 3 weeks to get 1 pair done. So, loving it. So then I was like, oh, I want to knit some more of my yarn. But I didn't want to cast on another pair of socks because I knew that I would be knitting probably about 2 pairs a month this year. At least for the next however many months that Mina Phillip, her sock collection goes on, because I knew I wanted to knit her pattern, and then I also knit my Desert Vista Dye Works socks. So I thought, I want to knit with some of my yarn. And I'm kind of behind on making my kids hats for winter. And even though winter is ending, I thought, well, maybe I can get some hats done. I just got those new pom-poms in from Etsy. And so I thought, well, I need to knit some hats up. And so I used the pattern, let's see here. I used the pattern Classic Cuffed Hat by Pearl Soho. And I held the yarn doubled. Let me show you it. I held the yarn doubled, and I started with the brim, and I knit 20 rounds of 2x2 ribbing, and then for the Dog hair always on things. And then for the body of the hat, I did 47 rounds, and then I did decreases at the top and finished it up. So this is the inflatable donut colorway, and this is on my BFL high twist base, which when I was thinking about knitting a hat, I thought, I don't know how I'm going to like the BFL high twist, but it, you know, like if it was going to be too scratchy or would it be comfortable in my head, but it is fabulous. Let me put this on. So I did a pom pom. And I tried it on my kids, and it looks awesome on my kids, even though it's my size head. I did it a little bit smaller than probably I would have done it for myself, as far as the number of stitches I cast it on. And it came out perfect for my kids as well. So that is one hat done, and that's again in the inflatable donut colorway, which in the skein, I have one. Oh, right here. And the skein looks like this. We still have some in the shop. So that turned out lovely. Okay, and then, so that was my second finished object. I knit that on size 6s for the brim, 16-inch circulars, and then for the body of the hat, I did it on 7s. And it calls, I think, for a 5 and a 7, but I knew because I was casting on less stitches than I normally do for my head that that it would be fine. So I needed to use a little bit bigger needle for the brim so that I could wear it. But I wanted to point out that I do not currently carry worsted weight yarn in my shop, and that's mainly because for me right now, I want my shop to be things that I really enjoy to knit with, yarns I've knit with in the past, because I did dye for myself personally a while before I opened my shop. So I just wanted to, you know, keep it fun for myself and dye things that I enjoyed. And I knew from dyeing for myself that if I needed a worsted weight yarn, that I simply could take my cake and hold the inside yarn and the outside yarn together and use it as a worsted weight yarn. So that's one reason I enjoy buying fingering from other dyers and supplying fingering myself, because if you need it to be a worsted, it's really easy to do, and it knits up, you know, just as beautiful as if it was a fingering weight yarn. So pointing that out, I have one more finished object, and that is my rainbow blanket. I picked it up again this last week, and I've come to the conclusion that I do not like the yarn. I like the colorway, it's awesome, but I don't know if you can tell, it is very fuzzy. And so what happened with that is that the skein, which is right here, my hair is, woo, hair. The skein, which is right here, I was pulling from the center, and it started felting, kind of. Even though it's acrylic, it kind of started felting in on itself, and I could not pull it from the center anymore. So then I tried pulling it from the outside, but these skeins are so huge that it just was not enjoyable. So at the point where I was at, I was a couple inches in, I thought, you know what, I should just finish this row, weave in my end, and give it to my daughter as a scarf. And so she loves it. And that's exactly what I did. So she wears it now as a scarf to school. And so it served its purpose. It's going to have a purpose. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of that yarn, but I'm not crocheting or knitting with it. So that was my third finished object. So moving on to works in progress. I have one works in progress. I did not bring over my... Yeah, I did. Okay, I have one works in progress in my... the Silver Shed USA bag. I love her bags. Very well made. I own a lot of her bags, and they're back on that shelf. And I really enjoy them. So I still have time here before I need to cast on for my March Desert Vista Dye Work socks. Or March. Come on. April. And same with my April socks for Mina Phillips' New York sock collection. So I decided to make another hat. This time I'm making it out of the Sea Treasure colorway. And that's in our yarn, Thornbird Bear yarn. And again, I'm doing it on the BFL high twist base. And I'm holding the yarn from the inside of the cake and from the outside of the cake. And if you turn your cake on its side, it really makes it easy to pull those two yarns apart. So here is the hat so far. Again, I did the ribbing here, 80 stitches around. And this is a free pattern, this classic cuffed hat by Pearl Soho. I did 25 rounds this time of 2x2 ribbing for the brim. And I'm going to do 42 rounds for the body of the hat before I start the decreases. So right here I'm at 35, so I'm almost to the decreases. You can see my little taco. I can't remember. I think it's like Bakery Charms or something on Etsy is where I got that. So I'm, again, loving this. I really like, if I'm not going to be knitting socks, I really like to have a hat like this on the go because, I mean, it's mindless knitting, which is what I love about socks. And I can take it with me if I'm going to someone's house or to a knit night. I can just take it with me. It's mindless knitting. And before you know it, it knits up a hat or whatever you want it to be. And I can add it to, I have a box, it's about this big, this wide, overfilling with knitted items to put on for the kids or myself, shawls, scarves, hats, gloves. And so I'll just throw it in that box and we can have it for next winter and all that jazz. I did knit the brim on size 6s again, and I'm knitting the body of the hat on size 7. So that is my current work in progress. But I did want to talk about 2 works in progress I have going on. I'm sorry, backtrack. I have 2 works in progress that are going to be coming up. And since I won't podcast for the next time for 2 weeks, which will be probably April 11th, I probably, if I know myself, will be done with at least 1 pair of socks by that point. So I thought I could show the yarn if I don't get to show it on the podcast and as a work in progress, and talk about getting ready for those projects. So there's 2 of them. One of them is for my March. I have got to move on. It is April. It's gonna be April. And my mom gave me this cute little bag. It's a little Peter Rabbit tote. It's got a little bunny tail. So cute. And it's got cute fabric on the inside that has some of the Peter Rabbit written on it. So I have in here my Likey needles, 40 inches, because that's how I like to knit 2 at a time socks. Size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. I have never knit with Likey needles before. I just got these. Here's the tip. I'm excited to try them. They're the Driftwoods. Here's the joins. I keep hearing how smooth these joins are. And if it would focus, that would be lovely. So I'm excited to try them. So they're going to be for my April Desert Vista Dye Work socks. I'm doing the colorway Solid Chocolate Zombunny self-striping It's on their Viso base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Here is one of the cakes, because I've already caked it up to get ready. And I take my bowl, or my skein, I wind it into one giant cake, and then I split that. I weigh it and split it into 2 semi-even cakes. So that is all ready to go in my Peter Rabbit bag for Easter for my April Desert Vista Dye Works socks. I also, and this one I started, for the Desert Vista Dye Works socks, you have to start them on April, the first day of that month or later. And you have to knit them within the month. So I have not started those. But for the New York sock collection, I looked, I didn't see any rules that were of that nature. So I went ahead, and I'm keeping this in my Silver Shed USA bag, and it is split in the middle for 2 at a time socks, which I love. So I went ahead and started the cuffs of my April socks for Mina's New York sock collection pattern. And I'm using my yarn, Thornbird Bear yarns, in the Merry Golden colorway. And I'm using ChowGoo's size 1s, 2.25 millimeter on 40-inch cables. And I am loving the Merry Golden colorway. So this is so my colors. Here's the back of them. So I just have the cuffs ready to go so that when the pattern comes out, I can start on the foot, or the leg of the sock, and I don't have to worry about doing the cuffs because I hate knitting cuffs. Just a little tidbit about me. Here it is in the cake, the Merry Golden. This is on the BFL high twist base, which is 80% BFL, 20% nylon. So that is going to be a future work in progress as well. And I am super excited about those. I just love knitting socks, period. I love knitting socks. Love it. Okay, so time to talk about spinning. I did do some spinning. And if you watched, I have a vlog out from when we went camping a couple weekends ago. And if you watch it, you'll see I have a little clip in there of me spinning on my mini spinner while we were camping. Because that's pretty much the main time I get to spin is when we're camping. Or when we're outside somewhere. So here is the bobbin for where I'm at. This fiber is very jewel toned. It's by Fraguous Fibers. It's BFL, and it's in the Cathedral colorway. So I just have this one little bump to spin up. And then on this bobbin, and then this bobbin will be done. I'm doing a 2-ply fractal, although I say fractal because I took half the braid and I stripped it into 3 or 4 strips. And then the other half I was going to spin straight from that thicker portion of the roving. But I think what I'm going to do is still split that part up as well. I like spinning a thinner strip versus a thicker one. So I'm going to be working on that and trying to finish that up. So last but not least is, before the shop update news, is the giveaway for a skein of Thornbird Bear yarns, which is my yarn. Wish you could see the label better. There you go. It's just kind of blurry. It's in the Flora colorway. And there were actually I think 5 entries, because you needed to be a member of the Ravelry group. So I chose from numbers 2 through 6 at random.org and number 5, 1. And that is Shelton 410. So Shelton 410, if you could get a hold of me with your address, on Ravelry, I would appreciate it. I will get that out to you in the mail. So congratulations. All right. If you are not interested in hearing about shop update news, totally understand. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next episode, which will be in 2 weeks. Bye. And if you're staying for the yarns, I just want to show you some colorways that are up in the shop right now. And I'm going to be dyeing, I think today actually, some new colorways. But right now we have Inflatable Donut, and most of these we have on both BFL and Merino. So Inflatable Donut. We have Beach Vacation. This one's in the BFL. Sorry, it keeps blowing it out. Lily Pad. I love this lily pad. I want to knit socks with this. And we're out of it on Merino. We just have it in BFL right now. So I'll have to dye some more on the horizon. Of course, Flora. This is a new colorway called Doilies. Also a new colorway called Sugar Coma. Mary Golden, which we just have on BFL. And Sea Treasure. So those are up in the shop. This Friday there will be some more yarns I'm getting ready to dye in some new colorways. And so the update will be just like always, Friday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're interested in any of these yarns, they are currently up in the shop and are available to purchase at any time. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have purchased from my shop, I super appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great next 2 weeks, and I will see you soon. Bye!